TitleMatchNetwork.com.
You took advantage of WWE being taped by giving away the results of the tape shows so they would stick, live with WCW Nitro. Did you ever get any negative feedback from anyone in WCW that they felt it was a bad idea or bad for the business?
Sure.
Talent or people in the office?
Both. It was kind of...
Who are some of the guys that, talent-wise might have said, Eric?
Nobody like pulled me aside and
Okay.
said, man, are you out of your fucking mind? What are you doing? That's bad. Nobody, it was never that overt, but there was a lot of, what are you doing? God, that's insane. Can't do that. It was breaking the rules. But there were people in the office, several people in the office, probably more people in the office than anywhere. And keep in mind, again, go back, you look at the context. So many people that worked at WCW at that time kind of hoped that someday, if they needed to, they could end up working for WWF. Nobody wanted to be on the team that was doing something that they knew was going to piss McMahon off as bad as what I was doing. Right. Nobody wanted to be on my team. So there were kind of like a lot of distancing themselves from me more so than anything else.
Do you feel Nitro could have been as competitive as if it was like tape?
No.
No?
Absolutely not. The live component, which is why, look, WWE followed suit. If you go back and you look at the timeline, you look at the chronology, you look at the creative, you look at the fact that I turned heel on my own show and Vince McMahon turned heel on his own show. Look at it. He did it a year after I did. There was a replication of the NWO Nitro formula that they ultimately did better than we did. But we did it first, and they followed it and they improved upon it in many respects. But one of the things that we had to do is be live. You can't be spontaneous. You can't have that spontaneous combustion creatively unless it's live.
Do you regret having Tony Schiavone reveal Mick Foley was going to win the WWE title since it caused a huge surge in viewers leaving Nitro to go to Raw? Looking back?
Oh, of course. In retrospect, it was a dumbass thing to do. I underestimated.
How much did you enjoy pissing people off at this point?
I still do enjoy pissing people off.
All right.
It was part of my character. It's part of my charm. It's what worked for me.
Big Show recently said on the network that yourself would admit that you were a prick at this point. Would you agree with that, or do you regret any of that?
No, that's bullshit.
Okay.
That's bullshit. Who was I a prick to? The talent that I paid a lot of money to, the support that I gave certain people that are still in WWE now to help them get through their drug issues. Who did I fire for no reason? Who was I abusive to? Do I have, a short tolerance for stupid shit? Of course. So does Vince McMahon, by the way. Try screwing up under his, under his watch sometime and sit back and watch the body parts fly. Was I intense? Was I aggressive? Absolutely. But I was never mean to people just for the fun of it.
Okay. How much of the Mr. McMahon character do you think was based off yourself in WCW?
Oh, a lot. I mean, go back and look. Just go back and look. Vince McMahon went from wearing his, suits and $3,000 suits and his ties and his perfectly coiffed hair. And next thing you know, he's sitting behind the desk with a black jean jacket on as the heel owner of the company. It's hard for me, honestly, to just visually look. If you didn't know anything about wrestling and you looked at what I was doing and put a time code on it and a date, and then look at what Vince did and look at the date and not see the similarities, I guess you could say it was just coincidence, but it's kind of hard to believe that.
As WCW grew, the stories began to circulate that you were extremely arrogant about putting WWE out of business and often giving speeches backstage, that the company was about to put Vince down. At the time, is that really what you wanted, or did you just want to motivate the crew?
No, I think I touched on it earlier. I never wanted to put WWE out of business. There was nothing in that for me. What I did want to do was be number one and control 75% of the market share. That was important to me. Now, because there were rumors, by the way, and I think I've even heard WWE people, including maybe Vince McMahon, talk about how financially desperate they were at that time. And I may have said things like, WWE is on the verge of going out of business and we need to be number one. I'm sure I said that, but I can honestly say that it was never my motivation because there was nothing in that for me.
Is it possible with the success that might have went your head a little bit at all during this period of time? That was like one of the big rumors.
I don't know what that means. Clearly, I knew we were successful and I was enjoying it.
Did you change?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was under a lot more pressure.
Okay.
I mean, I was under pressure before we became successful. I was really under pressure afterwards. But it's my approach, my outlook on life didn't change. But I can see how people probably felt like it did. I know that when I'd show up backstage and I'd walk down the hall and I had 25 other things on my mind and someone would come by and say hello, I probably wasn't as friendly as I otherwise would have been prior to all that success when I didn't have that pressure. But that in no means, from my perspective, did it just because I was feeling arrogant. It was just the pressure in this situation.
Why did Nitro start going on early? Was that the network's idea, or was that something that you wanted to do?
It's something I wanted to do. It was part of going early, giving away their results. All of the underhanded stuff I did was done to create controversy.
How often, if ever, were you getting feedback from Ted Turner?
Rarely. I think, I would get a call, when the ratings came out on Tuesday, I'd get a call more often than not from Scott Sassa and Brad Siegel. They would kind of jointly call me and tell me what the rating was and congratulate me. Occasionally Ted would be on that call. But there was nothing more than congratulations and kind of telephonic high fives.
How would you have dealt with WWE changing that landscape today if you were competing against them?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
As far as going like with the VOD and all that stuff.
I honestly, I don't know because it's just not my world. I probably should know more about it than I do, but that is not my world.
What would it take to start a new promotion today?
Hundreds of millions of dollars and the patience to wait 5 to 10 years to see it pay off.
What are the biggest obstacles in trying to compete with WWE, I guess, today? Money?
It's the fact that the world has changed so much. I mean, they've had how many years? They've had 30 or 40 years to become a brand that is entrenched not only in the television industry but in the pop culture of Americana for the last almost three generations. That is a tremendous brand foundation that would be hard for anybody to knock them off of in a world where the viewership is so fractionalized and you have to get that brand loyalty and you have to get everybody over at WWE to sample your product and you have to do it with a budget that's a fraction of what you would need to do it with. So it would, to me, it's insurmountable.
TitleMatchNetwork.com